Hello everyone, I am Aniket Dattatreya Takle. Today I am telling about human skeletal system and illness regarding human skeletal system. Let's start. The human skeletal system consists of all the bones, cartilages, tendons and ligaments in the body. Altogether, the skeletal makes up about 20% of human body weight. And adults, skeletal contains 206 bones. Children's skeletons actually contain more bones because some of them, including those of the skull, fuse together as they grow up. There are also some differences in the male and female skeleton. The male skeleton is usually longer and has a high bone mass. The female skeleton, on the other hand, has a broader pelvis to accommodate for pregnancy and childbirth. Regardless of age or sex, the skeletal system can be broken down into two parts known as the axial skeletal and the appendicular skeleton. In axial skeletal anatomy, the adult axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. It's made up of the bones that form the vertical axis of the body, such as the bones of the head, neck, chest, and spine. In skull bones, the adult skull comprises 22 bones. These bones can be further classified by location. First one is cranial bones, and second one is facial bones. In cranial bones, the 8 cranial bones from the bulk of your skull, they help to protect your brain. And in facial bones, there are 14 facial bones. They are found on the front of the skull and make up the face. Second one is auditory ossicles. The auditory ossicles are six small bones found within the inner ear canal in the skull. There are three auditory ossicles on each side of the head, known as the first one is malleus, second one is incus, and third one is stapes. They work together to transmit sound waves from the surrounding environment to the structures of the inner ear. So next one is hyoid. The hyoid is a U-shaped bone found at the base of the jaw. It serves as a point of attachment for muscles and ligaments in the neck. Next one is a vertebral column. The vertebral column is made up of 26 bones. The first 24 are all vertebrae, followed by the sacrum and coccyx. This is known as the tailbone. The 24 vertebrae can be further divided into the cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, and lumbar vertebrae. In cervical vertebrae, these seven bones are found in the head and neck. Thoracic vertebrae, these 12 bones are found in the upper back, and the lumbar vertebrae, these consist of 5 bones, are found in the lower back. And the sacrum and the coccyx are both made up of several fused vertebrae. They help to support the weight of the body while sitting, and they are served as attachment points for various ligaments. Next one is thoracic cage. The thoracic cage is made up of the sternum, means breastbone, and 12 pairs of ribs. These bones form a protective cage around the organs of the upper torso, including the heart and lungs. Some of the ribs attach directly to the sternum, while others are linked to the sternum via cartilage. Some have no attachment point and are referred to as the floating ribs. Then in skeletal system, then next type is appendicular skeletal anatomy. In that, there are a total of 126 bones in the appendicular skeleton. It consists of the bones that make up the arms and legs, as well as the bones that attach them to the axial skeleton. In that, first one is pectoral girdle. The pectoral girdle is where the arms attach to the axial skeleton. It's made up of the clavicle, that means collarbone, and the scapula, that means shoulder blade. There are two of each of these, one for each arm. Next one is upper limbs. Each arm contains 30 bones known as the humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. In humerus, the humerus is the long bone of the upper arm, and the radius is one of the two long bones of the forearm found on the thumb side. In that ulna, the ulna is the second long bone of the forearm found on the pinky finger side. Next one is carpals. Carpals are the group of 8 bones found in the wrist area. That metacarpals. The metacarpals are 5 bones found in the middle area of the hand. And in phalanges, the phalanges are 14 bones that make up the fingers. In a pelvic girdle, the pelvic girdle, commonly known as the hips, is where the legs attach to the axial skeleton. It's made up of two hip bones, one for each leg, and in that each hip bone consists of three parts known as the ilium, ischium, and pubis. In ilium, the ilium is the top portion of each hip bone, and ischium is the curved bone that makes up the base of each hip bone. And in pubis, the pubis is located on the front part of the hip bone. In lower limbs, each leg is composed of 30 bones known as the femur, tibia, fibula, then patella, tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. In a femur, the femur is the large bone of the upper leg. In tibia, tibia is the main bone of the lower leg. It forms the shin. And in fibula, the fibula is the second bone in the lower leg found in the outer leg. And in patella, the patella is also called as the kneecap. Tarsals are the seven bones that make up the ankle, and in metatarsals, the metatarsals are the five bones that make up the middle area of the foot. In phalanges, the phalanges are 14 bones that comprises the toes. After that, the functions of the skeletal system, in that the skeletal system's main function is to provide support for the body. For example, the spinal column provides support for the head and torso. The legs, on the other hand, support and bear the weight of the upper body while a person stands. But the skeletal system has several additional functions, including like protecting internal organs from injury, then allowing for movement, then producing blood cells, then storing minerals and nutrients. In protecting an internal organs from injury, for example, the skull protects the brain, while the thoracic cage protects the heart and lungs. In movement, the muscles attach to bones through tendons. This connection allows the body to move in many different ways. In producing blood cells, the soft bone marrow inside of many bones produced red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. In that storing minerals and nutrients, bones can store and release minerals including calcium and phosphorus, which are important for many bodily functions. Additionally, adipose, that means fat tissues, that can be used as energy, can be found in part of the bone marrow. Then illness regarding human skeletal system, like fractures, metabolic bone diseases, arthritis, cancer, and spinal curvatures. In that, a fracture can also be referred to as a broken bone. Fractures typically occur due to an injury or trauma, such as a car accident or a fall. There are many different types of fractures, but they are generally categorized by the nature and location of the break. In that, metabolic bone diseases refer to a group of conditions that affect bone strength or integrity. They can be due to things such as a deficiency in vitamin D, loss of bone mass, and use of certain medications such as steroids or chemotherapy. In arthritis is an inflammation of the joints. This can cause pain and a limited range of movement. Several things can cause arthritis, including the breakdown of cartilage that's found in joints, autoimmune conditions, or infection. In cancer, cancer can develop in the tissues of the bone or in the cells produced by bones. Cancer that forms in the primary bone tissue is actually quite rare. Cancers of the blood cells produced by bone, such as myeloma or lymphoma, are more common. In spinal curvatures is when the spine does not curve in its usual shape. Typically, the spine follows gentle forward and backward curves. There are three main types of spinal curvature. First one is kyphosis, and lordosis, and last one is scoliosis. In kyphosis creates a rounding in the upper back, and second one is lordosis, causes the lower back to curve inward, and last one is scoliosis, causes an S or C shaped curve in the spine. That's are all about human skeletal system and illness regarding human skeletal system. Thank you.